and welcome to another episode of Something Witchy, a Sabrina the Teenage Witch rewatch podcast. I'm Laura Cotter.
And I'm Skye Orchard.
And we are taking another little break for the holidays. We still have some fun content planned for you. Oh, I didn't think of a question beforehand. Oh, wait, here's a question, Skye. So when we're recording this, it's December 1st, and I'm putting up Christmas decorations in my house, and I had Christmas music playing like you do.
Gross.
I realized there are a lot that I just absolutely hate. There's some that I love, like the NSYNC Christmas songs are the best. Skye, what is your least favorite Christmas song? I will tell you mine.
Please.
It's the one that's Pachelbel's Canon with the children singing. I think it's a Mannheim Steamroller song. I don't know. I don't even know what it's called. All I know is that the minute that thing turns on, I like scream and press skip or turn the channel if it's on the radio for a couple of reasons. Number one, Pachelbel's Canon is not a Christmas song. And I am anti-turning classical music that's not Christmas into Christmas songs. Number two, I don't like any music apparently where children sing. I've come to learn this about myself. All the Christmas songs where they're a choir of children singing, I don't like them. And number three, it's just really, really stupid lyrics. I hate that song so much.
Okay. Those are some strong feelings with 3 points there. Good job. This is one of the tougher questions. And mainly it's because I'm a Scrooge and a Grinch. And so
there's got to be one that's just like nails down a chalkboard.
Oh, I hate when the Christmas shoes get stuck in your head.
Oh gosh, no. Yeah, that is. Oh, is that worse than the Pachelbel's Canon one? That one might be worse than the Pachelbel's Canon.
Very traumatizing and painful to listen to. It's like a 5-minute song.
It's a 5-minute trauma dump.
Yeah.
It's emotionally manipulative.
You know what I love as far as Christmas songs, and it's not because I love the song, but I love, All I Want for Christmas Is You by Mariah Carey because of the memes, like the She Is Coming memes. Yeah. Chef's kiss. We'll have to post them on Instagram because I don't care for the song. It's stuck in your head, and I don't want it stuck in my head, but the memes.
Yeah. No, that one is good. So part of the reason why I brought this up is because when I was listening to my Christmas music, a song came on and I was like, did my playlist switch out of Christmas music? And I went to go look at it. It was like, nope, this is on a Christmas album. You know the song, the Hallelujah song?
Yeah.
I think it's by, oh gosh, I don't want to say it and get it wrong.
Isn't it Rufus Wainwright?
Yes. Is that a Christmas song? I could say it was on a Christmas album that came up on my Christmas playlist.
I wouldn't call it a Christmas song, but it does say Hallelujah.
It does. I thought that was an interesting choice. Anyway, on this special episode of Something Witchy, Skye and I have picked out a few fun fan fiction stories about Sabrina, and we're going to read them to each other, and then we're going to discuss them. I'm going to go first because I have 3 of them, but they're pretty short.
I'm surprised at the amount of fan fiction out there. I don't feel like it's a lot.
On fanfiction.net, it was like 9 pages worth of results, and it was specifically 90s sitcom. There were a couple in there for like the animated series and the comic archive of our own. A lot of them had the newer series, and it was hard to weed through those. Did you notice that too? Yeah,
and then just finding podcast friendly, since we are trying to keep it somewhat family friendly and or mother friendly. Hi, Mom.
Yeah. Also things that were 1 completed, 2 not very long, and 3 didn't spoil anything.
Yeah, I saw a lot of names that I'm like, I don't think I should be seeing this name right now.
Yeah, I try to be very careful in the ones I pick. I think this is going to be a new tradition of ours where we have to do this every holiday season. As the more you learn about characters, the more we can read. And if you have written these and you're mad about us reading them, I'm so sorry. We'll try to be kind in our thoughts because it is a lot of work and a little bit scary to publish fan fiction. I have never done it because I don't want to put myself out there like that. Also, I can't commit to anything creative for that long.
As we commit to a 7-season podcast.
This isn't creative. This is just me talking. I don't have to create anything. So I am going to read one called Libby by author Callie Ravel. Libby's life hadn't turned out how she'd planned. She tried to get into local politics, but it hadn't worked at all. Her defeat had been embarrassing. The experience had brought the knowledge that she was no longer the most popular girl in high school crashing down on her. She was still pretty, still smart enough to get by, but no one cared that she'd been a cheerleader, that she'd ruled high school for 4 years and then another 4 in college. She etched out a career for herself after her disastrous start in politics by turning to law, the actual subject of her degree. She was a good lawyer, bringing with forbearance and determination that she'd shown as a teenager to bear on witnesses and culprits alike. She'd gotten into Stanford, though she'd had too much work to do to care about being bitchy or popular. Now, she was on track to becoming a partner by the age of 30 and worked late every night. Nice though her career success was, Libby was lonely. She never told anyone, but she still thought about him. Chad Corey Dillon, the love of her life. You now see why I picked this one. They'd met at a dance when he'd come along as the date of that freaky girl, Sabrina. He told her that he was a rock star, but with the wisdom of age, she doubted that was true. It didn't matter anyway. He made the world light up. His attitude was so positive, so optimistic, so in love with everything that he made everything seem better. He made it seem like whatever happened would be okay, like she didn't have to fight at all, like he would still like her whatever she said or did. He made her feel like she didn't have anything to prove. He disappeared that night, and she never heard from him again. She thought of asking Sabrina, but could never bring herself to do it. Libby had regretted that since leaving high school, but she had no idea how to contact her now. Libby periodically searched Facebook to see if his account would pop up. She could just imagine what it would be like, full of photographs recording every second of his life, all those fantastic experiences he couldn't bear to forget. Even the most mundane things she knew would be fantastic to him. He'd be surrounded by friends, he'd be skydiving, mountain climbing. No one else had ever matched up to him, and so she stayed alone. Libby had never been one to settle for second best. The end.
Oh, Libby. He's dough at the bottom of everybody's shoes.
I love the thought of Libby being so hung up on the dough man. She just spends the rest of her life alone.
Never top the man, though. Rest in peace, Chad Corey Dillon.
Well written for being so short. Like, it actually made me feel a little sad.
That was a good one.
All right, your turn.
I also have a Libby one.
Oh, good. Do her and Chad Corey Dillon have kids? Are they dough babies?
No. This takes a different Libby turn.
Okay.
It is called That Darn Barn by Rosa Quills. And originally when I thought we were recording fan fiction for Thanksgiving, before you surprised me with reminding me that we were doing Hallmark instead.
Surprised you.
Yeah. My brain was a real surprise there. I was like, this is perfect. This is a Thanksgiving themed. I am so on brand. But Thanksgiving wasn't too long ago, so pretend I'm still on brand. So yeah, this piece is by Rosa Quills, and it was published on November 3rd, 2022.
Oh, that's recent.
Mm-hmm.
Mine was from 2011.
Okay. The students of Westbridge High were excited to celebrate Thanksgiving with an annual barn dance. Sabrina Spellman and the entire class in her grade were helping to decorate the barn for the occasion. The 16-year-old witch glared as her black-haired and black-hearted mortal rival sauntered over to her. Hello, freak. I hope you aren't planning on running for barn queen. I am the only one worthy of being royalty in this school. Libby Chesler was a cruel piece of work. You know, Libby, I agree. This shocked her. What? You are royalty, a drama queen through and through. Libby grumbled, still a queen. She then strutted off with her cheerleader friends. Sabrina blew a stray strand of blonde hair out of her face and reunited with her friend Valerie. Valerie, what are the chances of me becoming the barn queen this year? Valerie Burkhead was a shy girl with very low self-esteem. She avoided encounters with Libby where possible. She was currently tying up colored balloons. Forget it, Sabrina. Libby always gets what she wants. If the attention is on her, it takes the attention off us. The blonde witch sighed and sat next to her friend. Yes, she was pouting. I know, but is it so wrong to want love and adoration too, even if it's for a dumb barn dance? It's not wrong to dream about this stuff, Sabrina, but Libby is destined for this kind of living. We're plain Janes. Yeah, we'll see who's on top soon enough. Later that night, Sabrina was at home in her bedroom browsing her spellbook. She paused on a page and cackled. Yes, this would put Libby in her rightful place. It was the day of the dance, and Sabrina was wearing a super cute cowgirl outfit. She located Libby, located by the throne made out of straw, and hid behind a banner. They were alone, but it wouldn't be long before the other students arrived. Sabrina aimed her index finger and cast a spell. Libby transformed into a sow.
A sow?
A sow.
Okay.
Happy Thanksgiving, Piggy Libby. That title is mine. The students filed in. The dance began, and Libby's absence was noticeable. Sabrina felt elated, and the best news came when she was announced as the barn queen. Sabrina Spellman is our new barn queen, Principal Willard Kraft announced, handing her a bouquet and a flower crown. What would you say is the secret to your success? It's magic, she cried in elation. That title is mine, you cheater! Without warning, Sabrina was side-tackled by Libby, no longer a pig.
Oh, I thought she was still a pig. That'd be better if she was still a pig.
Oh, that would be great. Libby, no longer a pig, and a wrestling match commenced. There was hair pulling, scratching, punching, and general catfighting. At one point, they ended up mud wrestling. Libby retrieved her prizes, looking less than regal, and sat down on the straw throne. Principal Willard Kraft looked baffled. Your new barn queen is Miss Libby Chesler. A round of applause, please. Sabrina was sour. Fate worked against her, and she was so close to winning as well. The end. Happy Thanksgiving, Piggy Libby.
That had twists and turns that I was not expecting. Also, I know you texted me beforehand and you told me about you had a story. You told me Libby turns into a cow, so that's why I was thrown off by the sow thing. But I also had completely forgotten you sent me that text, and I was not prepared for it.
Yeah, sow cow. It rhymes, and I forgot. It's been a couple weeks since I read this.
Do we feel like it's true to the character of Sabrina that she get into a physical altercation, including mud wrestling?
If she didn't have a choice, I could see Libby like keeping it going there.
Oh gosh. Okay. This is called King of the Mountain, King of the World, and the author is Pirate Turner. But it also was uploaded by someone, Cat Lee PT, so I'm not sure which of those.
I saw a lot of their works.
I did too. So I don't know if like they were just like an uploader of a bunch of stuff and there were different authors, or like maybe they found stuff on another website and saved it by putting it on fanfiction.net. This was originally written December 24th, 2010. So we're going way back. He would conquer this mountain. He was Salem Saberhagen, the greatest wizard who ever lived, and he could do anything, absolutely anything, to which he put his mind. Salem's long, ebony tail swished back and forth as he climbed, the mantra silently repeating over and over again in his mind. He could do anything at all as long as he wanted to do it, and the world was putty in his paws. He could take the world as it was, the small ball of earth and water that the foolish mortals had spent centuries doing their very best to destroy, and turn it right side up again. He could create life from disaster and love from chaos. He could right all the wrongs in the world and build a new paradise where all of his people would be welcome. He could fashion a brand new world where love and equality, and of course he, the great and fabulous King Salem Saberhagen, reigned over all. He could do anything. He would conquer this mountain no matter how hard it bucked underneath him or how swiftly it swayed. It didn't matter that he kept losing his paw holds and having to scramble just to stay on the beast's scraggly hairs. He wouldn't look down and he refused to be thrown off. He would conquer this mountain and transform it into what it should be. His air escaped him as he was punched in his belly. His claws tore frantically at the mountain he was determined to shred into a molehill as it tried to pull out from underneath him. He held determinedly to its skinny limbs while shaking his head to clear his bedazzled eyesight. He would not, could not fail. Far too much was riding on this simple endeavor, and he would come out the winner in this as he did in all things. Well, all things sooner or later. There was, after all, the small matter of the blasted council betraying him and turning him into a cat, but he would resolve that too and regain his rightful wizard body when the time was right. In the meantime, and even after, he would conquer every mountain that came his way, starting with this green beast thrashing wildly beneath him. Apologies for how I pronounce mountain. I'm from Utah. I'm just realizing I'm hearing that now. Salem dug in his claws and hung on, his black fur fluffing out at all angles as the mountain swung recklessly beneath him. For one terrifying, heart-rending moment, Salem almost thought that the thing was going to take him with it to the floor, but at the last possible second, he let go of his hold with a tremendous, roaring yowl and sailed into the air. He scaled the mountain and landed on top of its bucking head, whereupon he swiftly dug all of his deadly 20 claws into the beast and squeezed it until it finally went limp. Salem closed his eyes as the tenseness rushed from his muscles, and he released a breath to which he would never admit to holding. He simply held to the mountain and breathed, concentrating on the breath slowly coming in and leaving his body before reopening his green eyes. He caught a glimpse of how far down it was to the floor and quickly reshut his emerald orbs. When he opened them again, he made certain not to look down and instead raised his gaze high. There, above him, a single star twinkled, and Salem resumed his climb. A Celtic carol sang throughout his head, and his tail swished in tune to the ancient song. Now that the beast was calm again, it took the great Salem Saberhagen only scant moments to scale its remainder and reach the singular star. Gold gleamed in Salem's green eyes as he gazed upon the star, and then he reached out with his paw and knocked it from its place. Turning around, he backed up carefully until he was able to settle into the arms of the beast that had once thought itself vile enough to win against him, but which he had proved completely wrong. He proudly surveyed his world from his new perch. He was the king, the greatest king either realm had ever seen, and he would always be king. None would take his throne regardless of whether they stripped him of his powers, turned him into a cat, or any of the other endless things that had been done to him by those sniveling ingrates, and no other power could stand against his might for long. He would best any foe who came his way and always win the day. The Salem Saberhagen way. He smiled and his paws arched beneath him. He sheathed, unsheathed, sheathed, and unsheathed his claws once more as he began to knead in celebration of his sweet victory. He had conquered this mountain just as he would the world, and after this world and its meager mortals, he would turn his attention back to his own world and would not stop until he had conquered it, and his love ruled supreme over all. He was Salem Saberhagen, and he would be king forever. He smirked and his tail tapped the branches beneath him. The Spellmans would receive a firm reminder of that indisputable fact first thing in the morning, he vowed, surveying the wreckage below him with a keen eye. How dare they put up a Christmas tree without asking him first? They'd soon know that no tree was to come into his territory without his clear and direct permission first. It is written that way, as permissions. And he would remind them too, starting with young witchling Sabrina Spellman, that the real winter holiday was the winter solstice and not just a day put aside for a jolly fat man in red to give everyone but him presents across the globe. Salem's green eyes narrowed. Perhaps, again, it was time to take another look at his plans for global domination. He had started with this tree tonight, but his next move just might be Santa Claus. He began to purr, and his tail swished happily from side to side. Yes, indeed, they'd never see that coming. He'd start with Santa and taking back the winter celebrations, and then he would take the world by storm. Smiling pleasantly to himself and still purring deeply, Salem nestled into the highest branches of the withered Christmas tree to drift off to sleep. Broken ornaments and de-winged angels lay all around them in a million pieces, and his message to the Spellmans in the morning would indeed be crystal clear. In the meantime, he thought, stifling a yawn behind a paw, he'd just catch a few winks of shut-eye. And then he'd start on his conquering of the globe again, Salem thought as he drifted off to sleep to dream of his coming presents. After all, what better day than Christmas to get the presents that were rightfully already yours? His smile curved his furry lips as he slept on, and his tail began to swish more slowly as it tucked into his side. He slept on, dreaming of everything that belonged to him and would be his, as his pathway of destruction glittered clearly beneath him. The world was his oyster, and anyone who disagreed would eat with his might and claws and be turned into mincemeat, just as this mountain of a tree had been transformed into a miniature pine. Salem's smile grew, and he stretched out further across the tree limbs, kneading in his slumber. The world was his, and he would conquer every mountain to keep it that way. It was only a matter of time before he had his own body back, his every dream fulfilled, and all the presents he deserved.
You found a Christmas one.
I found a Christmas one.
Will not be my Thanksgiving. Proud of Salem for conquering Christmas.
I know. That was so well written.
It was. Okie dokie. For the last one I found, it takes a turn. We're going into crossover land. You ready?
Well, I know everybody who's mentioned in this story.
You should. I feel like a lot of our listeners should as well.
Okay.
It's a lot of nerdy stuff there.
I will say the number of Sabrina / Harry Potter fics was very much smaller than I anticipated.
Agreed. So the fandoms we are going to cover today.
Okay.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Okay.
Scooby-Doo, where are you? Sabrina the Teenage Witch, Star Trek The Next Generation.
Oh, okay.
Castle.
All right.
And then I think this is the movie Sorcerer's Apprentice from 2010. That's the one I haven't watched.
Like the Mickey, like Fantasia?
No.
Oh, that movie.
Mhm.
Okay. I don't know if I've seen that. I may have seen it several years ago, but
I recognize the name that we'll hear,
Yeah.
but I don't know if I've watched it.
all right. Let's do this. I'm excited. I'm so excited to see how Star Trek and Castle
Right.
come into this.
The summary of this is a mad scientific road trip in 6 travels. So it is 6 chapters, but they are very, very short chapters, as you will see here.
Okay.
This was published on March 14th of 2011, so going back a little bit there.
Okay.
It is by Gray Cardinal, and it is called They Switched Buffy's Brain.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay. Yes, let's do this.
Title alone drew me in. Chapter 1. The lamest cliche ever. Don't worry, my dear, this won't hurt a bit. The Slayer glared at Ethan Rain. When my muscles unfreeze, this won't take long, and when I'm done, they won't be your muscles. You realize this is the lamest cliche ever. Sometimes the old school approach is the best. Besides, you must admit my technique is distinctive. Right, you just gave a brain-switching amulet to some tourists passing through town and hope one of them put it on. I was a little bit more subtle than that. Now then, Ethan muttered a Latin phrase. Buffy blinked and sniffed loudly. Rot-row. Something wrong, Scoob? Chapter 2. Braining cats and dogs.
Oh, no.
I really shouldn't do this, the girl said nervously. Shaggy groveled melodramatically. You gotta help get Scoob back. Okay, I'll try. She read from her spellbook, one hand holding the amulet, the other resting on the dog's head. Mind and body now opposed to their opposites transposed. The air sparkled for a moment, then, Sabrina? I think you got the wrong opposites. The voice coming out of the Great Dane was clear, dry, and very much not Scooby-Doo's. Salem? But if you're in there, then I'm a talking cat, said the black cat sitting next to Sabrina. Not. Chapter 3. Highly illogical. Sabrina consulted her grimoire. Need an expert, SOS. Brain transfusion, sure success. A uniformed, yellow-skinned man appeared. Where am I? Massachusetts. My cat's been brain switched. Can you fix him? Her. Data's eyebrows rose. Female? In a male body? Unfortunately. Her original body? That's a problem. Fascinating. I will require parts. Several hours and numerous small appliances later, Data applied electrodes. This should not be painful. I've heard that before. Activating. Energy went psst. Where am I? I can't see. In a temporary storage vessel, there were insufficient materials to construct an android body. I'm a brain in a jar? Essentially. Chapter 4. It's alive! Now what, the Slayer in storage demanded. I must return to the future, Data said. Come and a body could be constructed for you. Buffy Bot 2.0? No way. Just FedEx me back to Sunnydale. If you insist. FedEx, however, had other plans.
Wait, hold on. So Buffy was in Shaggy's body, and then she was in Salem's body?
Buffy went to Scooby, then from Scooby to Salem, and then is now a brain in a jar.
Okay. Sorry, keep going.
A brain in the jar that FedEx has failed to deliver correctly. Dad, package for you. I don't remember. Hey, new PlayStation. Custom job too. I am not a PlayStation. Voice interactive? Cool. Castle plugged it into his TV, inserting a Halo disc.
Oh, no.
You can't. Ow! Castle began racking up kills. Okay, enough! A blonde warrior appeared on screen, dealing high volume death. Unfair. Alexis, this PlayStation's possessed. So, call an exorcist. Good idea. Chapter 5. A guy for everything. The shop owner cocked an eyebrow. Castle, you know I don't deal in electronics. How about evil spirits? I keep telling you, I'm not evil. That's what they all say. All right, said Balthazar Blake. Now I'm interested. May I? Be my guest, said the writer. Balthazar eyed the PlayStation thoughtfully, tracing sigils in the air around it with his wand, and studied the results. Most unusual. Someone has apparently managed to digitize a Slayer. Give the man a Cupid doll. Make that a snarky Slayer, said Castle. The PlayStation beeped. You're a wizard? I am. Get me out of here. And here we are. Chapter 6.
Okay.
High Energy Climax.
Oh, gosh.
New York. A highly evolved PlayStation sits in a pentagram center, Tesla coils oscillating in the background. Sunnydale, in another pentagram, a still blonde form lies waiting. This will take all our talents, Balthazar says, speaking to both Dave, standing over the PlayStation, and Willow, via speakerphone. Ready, says Willow, swallowing. As I'll ever be, says Dave. All together then, says Balthazar. Latin ensues. The PlayStation glows, so does the blonde body. Blue haze slowly rises from the machine, swirls, pulses, and pops, vanishing, reappearing above and sinking into the blonde. The Slayer awakens. That was one bizarre road trip. The end.
Do you think they put names of TV shows in a hat and just ruse them out? And we're like, how can we write a story around this?
How can we include Star Trek with Scooby-Doo, with Buffy, with Sabrina?
A Castle.
And Castle. Castle was the truly
That is
random one out of there.
Most random one. Again, so many twists and turns. I did not know where that was going. I was expecting her consciousness or brain to be transferred in every chapter, so I'm glad we stopped after 3 transfers because I couldn't keep track of 3. So wow, okay. This is called The Witch Princess by Marie S. Zachary. It was published February 27th, 2008. It was a calm day in the Spellman house. It was a calm day, that is, until Sabrina stormed into the house. She sat down on the sofa and burst into tears. Honey, what's wrong? Zelda asked. Harvey has cancer in his heart, she sobbed. Hilda's maternal instinct kicked in. She took her niece in her arms and engulfed her in a hug. Isn't there some kind of spell? Hilda, Zelda warned. You know perfectly well that healing spells are illegal. I know, but no buts, Zelda said firmly. Healing spells are illegal, and I don't mean a sick bird. But we could ask Jocelyn, the witch princess, and my daughter, Hilda answered proudly. Wow, back up! You have a child? I do, Hilda said. Would you like to hear the true and entire story? Do pigs have ears? Of course I want to hear the true and entire story.
I did read this one.
You read it? I didn't read all the way through, skimmed it. Well, Zelda began, only to be interrupted by Hilda. Zelda, I'm her mother. I will tell the story if you don't mind. Fine. It all began when I was 16 years old. This was back about 500 years ago. And this is flashback. 16-year-old Hilda Spellman hummed to herself as she got dressed. She was in quite a good mood. All of a sudden, she heard a trumpet sound, and a messenger of the Witch King was in her room. Hilda Spellman, he asked in a gentle but firm voice. She could only nod. Don't be afraid, he told her. You have been impregnated by the Witch King to bear the Witch Princess. I'm sorry. What did you just say? He repeated his message. But how can that be? I haven't. Not only that, but I've never personally met the King Witch. The King Witch chose you because of your inner as well as outer beauty. You will bear Jocelyn, the Witch Princess, exactly 9 months from today on the 10th of January. Inner and outer beauty, and an older sister that will be jealous. Hilda couldn't stop thinking of the way her family would react. She would find out soon enough. Edward, her younger brother, thought it was really cool. You're going to be the mommy of the Witch Princess. Cool. Promise me I'll be able to hold her. Hilda chuckled and ruffled her brother's hair. Well, since you asked so nicely, you can be the first to hold her. Well, I just think it's stupid, Zelda said. Or maybe you're lying. Why on earth would the Witch King choose you? He chose me because I have inner and outer beauty. Yes, but unlike you, I have what it takes to be a mother. And just what is that supposed to mean? It means I know the meaning of the word discipline. You, on the other hand, will probably spoil the witch rotten. Excuse me, Hilda said. I would do no such thing. There's a lot more to being a mother for your information than discipline. I know that. Yeah, right. I could just see you now. You would ride her like a broom for every imperfection. Young lady, you only got a 90 on your test? That's unacceptable. You are the witch princess and you should get 100. Oh, and I could just see you now. Oh, Jocelyn, you got an answer right on your spelling test. That's wonderful. Now let's get some ice cream to celebrate your one right answer. I would not do that, Hilda argued. Vesta was more interested, but only because she thought the fight between her 2 sisters was fun. Come on, she said, keep it coming. You're going to raise a brat. Well, thank the King Witch he chose me, not you. You would turn her into a neurotic child, and heavens knows she'll have enough to deal with without your issues. Hilda felt herself becoming emotional while Zelda stormed out of the room. Vesta laughed and clapped her hands. Just then, Mother and Father walked in hearing the commotion. What on earth is going on here? Hilda is pregnant with the Witch Princess, and Zelda said all sorts of mean things to her. Hilda, that's wonderful, Mother said excitedly, then ordered Father to discipline Zelda. To recap, 16-year-old Hilda got pregnant by Immaculate Conception.
This is also a Christmas story.
And Zelda's jealous. All right. While Mother fussed over Hilda, Father went into Zelda's room. Zelda, how can you say such a thing about your sister? Oh, come on, Daddy. We all know that I'm more disciplined than Hilda, and I'd make a better mother. Father threw Zelda a look. With your attitude, young lady, you wouldn't even make a better monkey. That is a good insult. Father, what a horrible thing to say. What a horrible thing you said about your sister. Now you will apologize and go to bed. No, I won't. Zelda stood and put her hands on her hips. I'm 18 and I'll not be ordered around like I'm 3. In a minute, I'm going to turn you 3 again and deal with you the way I deal with a 3-year-old. Fine. Zelda stomped into the room her sister was in. Sorry, she muttered half-heartedly, then stomped back to her room and went to bed. End of flashback. Aunt Zelda, I can't believe that was you, Sabrina said, surprised. I was not the same back then as I am now, Zelda explained, and I was jealous. I wanted to be the mother of the witch princess. So keep with the story, Sabrina said. She becomes distracted from her own plight and was fascinated. Flashback continued. Now, Hilda, Mother said, I made you some boiled eggs. What? She gets breakfast in bed? Where is my breakfast in bed? Well, dear, she's pregnant with the witch princess. She needs her rest. What she needs is discipline, Mother. She needs to get up and eat with the rest of the family. Oh, she'll have dinner with us, Mother promised. I'm making her favorite. Mommy, Hilda said, can I have a bagel too? Of course, dear, with cream cheese on it. Butter would be better. Coming right up. Zelda was unpleasant all during breakfast. She scoffed at the eggs, saying they were overboiled, and complained because the orange juice wasn't squeezed. Well, I'm doing my best, dear. You'd do it perfect for Hilda. Zelda, enough, Father thundered, unless you want to be turned into a 3-year-old for a little talk. Zelda said nothing more, but she sulked through breakfast. And flashback. So what brought you two together? Jocelyn, actually. When she was born, we made up. Zelda was a second mother to Jocelyn. Did someone call my name? Zelda and Hilda looked up, and sure enough, there was Jocelyn. Aunt Zelda, Mom. She hugged them both. And you must be my beautiful little cousin Sabrina. I like her already. Oh, sweetie, it is so good to see you. I missed you, Mom. I missed you too, Aunt Zelda. We missed you also. But I'm here because Sabrina needs me. She turned to Sabrina. Harvey will be fine. When you wake up tomorrow, it will be like a bad dream. Thank you, Jocelyn. I owe you. No, you don't. I was happy to do it. So what happened to you? Jocelyn laughed. That's a story for another day. How would you like to visit my place? Can I, Aunt Hilda, Aunt Zelda? Of course you may, dear.
So how do you feel now that you've read that all the way through?
I mean, that is a more classic fan fiction story, I feel.
Yes.
The author was probably young when they wrote it. And this is why I don't put out fan fiction, because I don't want somebody to say things about what I would write.
I do have one last one I found when I was clicking out of Buffy. This popped up on my page.
Okay.
It was like meant to be. It's only 100 words, don't worry.
Oh, good.
And I love the preface. So this is another crossover.
I mean, I assume because you said Buffy, so I'm assuming it's Buffy and Sabrina.
Oh, it's not Buffy. We're taking a turn.
Are you going to tell me, or is it going to be a surprise?
You know, I'm not going to tell you.
Okay.
And you can guess afterwards.
It's not going to be obvious?
I think it'll be obvious, but
Okay.
you can say it. I can't even really say the name. We'll call it 030. That is in the name there. And it was written for Mystery Fan 1984 by Aim My Arrows High. This was on September 4th, 2022. Who's the dreamy guy? Sabrina sets her chin in her hands and stares across the cafeteria. Bella and Jessica exchange confused looks. Says Bella, are you looking at the mystery ink table? I'm looking at the dreamboat with the therapy dog, Sabrina swoons. They're like totally weird, says Jessica. They're so pale and they're all like dating each other and they solve crimes. The big guy is Fred, explains Bella. He's going out with the redhead Daphne. Then there's Velma. She's the little one, says Jessica. She's like telepathically smart. And the stud pushes Sabrina.
Oh no.
Says the girls. Norville. This was called 030 Twilight. And the summary is Twilight. A week later, Shaggy saves Sabrina from being crushed by a psychedelically painted van in the school parking lot. I'd watch that movie.
Oh no. Anna Kendrick would play Jessica in that movie. She absolutely would be on board.
And she would remember this time that she was in that movie. She won't forget like the original Twilight.
Oh man. Yeah, that was unexpected.
But like the perfect cherry on the top for this whole session.
That one was A+. No notes. Hey, if you have some fun, unhinged fan fiction that you like, Sabrina. And like, don't give us anything too gross and traumatize us. But if you would like to, email your favorite fan fiction to us so we can read it again on another one of these episodes. Or if you absolutely hated it and never want us to do anything like this ever again, you can also tell us that.
We would respect that. Or if you want to write a fairly family-friendly fan fiction for us to read at some point.
I will also not speak for Skye, but I will say, please do not put me in a fan fiction.
The Sabrina fan fiction.
Sabrina, yes. Oh gosh. Okay. Yeah. So you can email us at somethingwitchypod@gmail.com. You can find us on Instagram at somethingwitchypod, on TikTok at something.witchy.pod. We're on Facebook. I don't know if I've said that yet on an episode, but we're on Facebook now too. Oh yeah, and Threads if anybody uses Threads. That was our fan fiction episode, and we hope you have a wonderful holiday. We'll see you again later. Or not see, we'll talk to you again later. I am still so reeling over that last fan fiction that I can't talk. Well, until next time.
Stay magical.